And welcome to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show, right here at Sixth Scale Cantina. So there's some real interesting trends going on with Star Wars Hot Toys right now. We're going to be taking a look at the Market Value Chart and also the best sellers on Sideshow and see exactly what's going on. Let's dive into it right now. Alright, and welcome to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show, right here at Sixth Scale Cantina. So getting right into it, let's go ahead and pull up sixthscalecantina.com. There are some interesting trends going on within the secondary marketplace for Star Wars Hot Toys. So first and foremost, the OG Mandalorian that was recently trending within the $400 tier range has leveled off between $340 and $375. Now, this figure, when it first went on waitlist, it did very quickly jump to $350 within hours of going on waitlist and selling out. Then, a week after that, it went into the $400 tier range. Since then, it has now leveled off. Now, I think the reason why this is happening is because you also have the Beskar version of the Mandalorian, both deluxe and non-deluxe, that are forthcoming. It's getting very close to Sideshow shipping those out or getting those shipments in. So I think that is the reason why. Once you get the Beskar versions of the Mandalorian hitting waitlist, I think you're not only going to see those Beskar versions skyrocket within the secondary marketplace, but I think that in conjunction, it's going to take this OG Mandalorian along with it, and it will go right back into the $400 tier range. I do think that this figure is a $400, mid $400 tier range figure, and quite possibly a $500 tier range figure. We're certainly going to have to keep an eye on it in the upcoming months, for sure. The other thing that is going on trend-wise within the secondary marketplace that's peculiar is this A New Hope Luke Skywalker. This particular figure here is selling much higher now within buy-sell groups, and it is also selling within the $400 tier range and beyond with on eBay. So, while you have the return of the Jedi Master Luke going back down to Earth, and while you have both versions of the Endor Luke going back down to Earth, this in particular figure here is trending up. You're also seeing this sign, not quite as much, but you are seeing it with the crate version of Luke. So, with this A New Hope Luke, it's certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on in the upcoming months in the secondary marketplace for Star Wars Hot Toys. So let's go ahead now and actually go down into the biggest movers section and see what we have going on. Anakin Darkside. This figure is just pure insanity right now. It is actually getting close to the $700 tier range to get this figure. And also, just below it, the regular Revenge of the Sith version of Anakin Skywalker is, hitting that $600 tier range. Both figures very highly sought after, even though within the, on Sideshow right now, you can go ahead and pre-order the Clone Wars version of this figure, which is basically the same head sculpt. So very, very interesting, and something we're certainly going to have to keep an eye on for sure. Let's go ahead and continue to go look at the biggest mover section. Solo Maul is, starting to trend up. It was low for a while. Now it's starting to creep up into the mid-high $300 tier range. Emperor, we've already discussed Emperor Palpatine. Craziness with this figure right now. The Shore Trooper, the Shore Trooper actually went up with the releases of, the other shore troopers on Sideshow. Again, something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Count Dooku. Count Dooku is raising very, very high. It is now broached the $400 tier range. And, this figure is highly, highly sought after. And you got right next to it Obi-Wan Kenobi. Both the deluxe and non-deluxe versions are trending very, very high right now. Krennic. Same thing with Krennic. Krennic is going really, really high. I mean, it was available for a pretty reasonable price for the longest time. And then right now, this figure has broken into the $400 tier range. Remnant Trooper. Remnant Trooper is trending up. It quickly trended up, once it, sold out on Sideshow. And then now it's, it was kind of steady for a while, and now it's rising. Same thing with vintage Bubba, the vintage color Boba Fett. This one, took a little bit longer. Wasn't as quick as the Remnant Trooper. But now this is starting to gain traction. And, I've mentioned this several episodes ago. You have to wonder, with that vintage color Boba Fett, is it possible that this vintage color Boba Fett can hit the $600 tier range where the animated Boba Fett is? And I think that the answer is, it is possible. I think it is possible because of the success of Boba Fett within The Mandalorian Season 2. And now that he has his own show that is forthcoming. I think you have to look at this vintage color Boba Fett now, perhaps a little bit differently. And I also think that the likelihood of Hot Toys reissuing this vintage color Boba Fett is extremely low at this point. So certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on within the secondary marketplace for Star Wars Hot Toys. So let's go ahead and actually take a look at Sideshow. And I have it sorted out to where we have just the Star Wars Hot Toys on the screen and sorted out bestseller-wise. And so the other interesting trend right now is this Darktrooper, for about 8-9 days in a row, has been ranked the #1 figure at Sideshow bestseller-wise. Very, very, very interesting with this figure. I think it's very telling as to how collectors are, in the most part receiving this figure and how this figure can potentially do once it's released and once it goes on waitlist. Now, it's going to greatly depend upon how those final production photos go and how the first initial reviews go. But if they go anything like the way this heavy infantry Mandalorian, which you see ranked #4, go, this figure, even though it is a droid, it's also a trooper. So kind of like 2 for 1. So I think you're going to get some of the collectors that collect droids that are going to want this Darktrooper, but you're also going to get a large segment of, collectors that collect troopers and that are going to want this figure just because it's a trooper. And let's not forget, these troopers were instrumental in the reinvigoration of Luke Skywalker. So when he showed up in The Mandalorian Season 2, I do think that this is going to be a big, heavy mover within the secondary marketplace. I have no doubt that this will for sure be a $400 tier range figure once this eventually sells out in the future. Okay, so next on the list here, OG Mandalorian. Excuse me, not the OG Mandalorian, but the Beskar version of Mandalorian. This is the deluxe version. It was #1 for a couple months at least. And the Darktrooper, pushed it out. But man, there's been a lot of pre-orders on this already. And again, I think that this figure, once this sells out, watch out. It's going to be highly sought after. Cody, nice to see Cody, #3. This is in stock. And once this sells out, you know how the Sideshow version of Cody and Rex went, how high those were in the secondary marketplace. These will be very, very highly sought after. Heavy Infantry Mandalorian, #4. I don't know how many batches they made of this. And, I have this pre-ordered. I'm hearing that Sideshow is getting into shipments, so I'm hoping to get this within the next few weeks. I hope it gets in stock. I'm wondering if it actually will. I don't think they made very many of these. And I think supply and demand wise, especially because the reviews are so good initially with this figure, I think that this one, as I mentioned in prior videos, not every Star Wars action figure that hits waitlist, which is all of them, are going to hit the $400 tier range, or $500 or $600. But this one's going to hit $400 for sure. Let's go down this list. Okay, Darth Vader. Yeah, it's a good reissue. Captain Rex, same story with Commander Cody. Can't wait to get this figure. I got that pre-ordered. Death Trooper. It'll be interesting to see where Death Trooper goes. I know it's going to go sell out. Is that going to go as high? Is it possible that this Death Trooper will be as high as the original Death Trooper released by Hot Toys for Rogue One? So we're certainly going to have to keep an eye on it. Same thing with these Shore Troopers. Here's a Shore Trooper squad leader. Is it possible that this figure is going to be in the $600 tier range, where the original Shore Trooper release is right now, and actually trending up, even with this and the grunt version below, up for pre-order? I actually don't think it'll go that high. I'm not sure. I think it's iffy with some of these. I think, they could be $300 tier range figures, $400 tier range figures. I guess anything's possible, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. There's been a lot of pre-orders on that Ahsoka. I don't care really how many they make of this. If you want this figure and you sleep on it once it goes on waitlist, highly sought after. We'll definitely have to see exactly where this Clone Wars version of Ahsoka lands within the secondary marketplace. What tier it hits. Is it going to hit the $300 tier range? The $400 tier range and beyond? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments section. 501st Battalion Clone Trooper. Wow, this is a trooper that I don't think we need to guess on. I think that this is certainly, I think anyway, a $400 tier range figure. Even though they're going to have probably a lot of different versions, since they have this Clone Trooper mold. But this 501st, I mean, how popular is the 501st? Tell me what you think in the comments section. I think this one's going to be a $400 tier range figure very quickly. Incinerator Trooper, that's going to, sell out soon. This is a great figure. I don't know. I think this is more of a, $300 tier range figure. That's where I think that is. But it could go higher. Who knows? IG-11, I think this is a sleeper. This is a droid. Again, a droid like this Darktrooper. But like this droid is also a trooper, this Darktrooper. This droid is also a bounty hunter. So there are a lot of collectors that, even though this is a droid, they want to get the hands on the bounty hunters. And I think just like this heavy infantry Mandalorian, I don't think they're going to make very many batches of this IG-11. I don't know if the pre-orders have been really heavy for Hot Toys for this. Maybe they have been. I haven't seen it. I think that this is, is it possible that this IG-11 can get up to the prices of where K2SO is? If they only make around the same amount of this IG-11 as they did with the initial release of K2SO, is it possible? Let me know in the comments section. What do you think? This Darth Maul Clone Wars version. Can't wait to get this figure. I don't think this will be as slow as DX16, DX17, and even the DX18. I think that with Star Wars being hot right now, and the market being hot, and all the upcoming content, I believe that once this Darth Maul Clone Wars version, if you sleep on this figure and you wanted this figure, I think this will quickly catch up to where the other two are going to be at that point, wherever they are. So, yeah. And I think that this Moff Gideon figure, we talked about that a couple episodes ago. You see what's going on with Director Krennic. You see what's going on with Grand Moff Tarkin. There's going to be a segment of collectors that are going to want this officer genre within their collection, every one that comes out. So I think, again, I don't think that there's a chance that this figure stays within the $200 tier range. And I don't think it just stays in the $300 tier range either. I just think that, it's going to be a higher one. So continuing to scroll down here to the last couple of figures to speak to, let's look at this Kylo Ren from the Rise of Skywalker. Wow, it's ahead of the Coruscant Guard. It's ahead of Lando, Leia and Wicket, ahead of the Tusken Raider, ahead of the Scout Trooper without the bike. Very interesting. You know, I do think that this Kylo Ren has several things going for it. Number one, the cloak does have a hood. I don't believe the Last Jedi version did. Also, the helmet lights up to show that cool welded lava effect. So, I do think that there is some interest for this figure, even though there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of interest for the sequel trilogy at all right now. But, you know, I think it does have, like I said, several things going for it. You have to wonder, though, because Hot Toys most likely is not going to produce a whole lot of these Kylo Rens. And most likely the same thing with this Rey and Dio. Are these two figures, because the supply is going to be so low, is it possible that they can become major players within the secondary marketplace for Star Wars Hot Toys? Now, I will tell you that Rey and Dio release, the initial press photos from Hot Toys, it didn't look very good, I didn't think. I didn't think it, I thought that the Force Awakens head sculpt of Daisy Ridley was pretty good. I thought in some ways the Last Jedi version of Rey, that head sculpt was in some ways an improvement. So you would kind of think that the Rise of Skywalker one here would also be a level up. But when you look at this, I don't see it, at least in this lighting. However, going back to sixthscalecantina.com just for a second, within the resources and links tab, I have some links to some other channels and other Hot Toys resources, and this section continues to grow. But there is a link to a channel called MR Collection Ventures. And if you look up MR Collection Ventures on YouTube, he took a video of this Rey and Dio prototype from Hot Toys. And in his video, it looked 8,000 times better than what we're seeing here on the screen. So you have to wonder if the final production photos of this Rey and Kylo Ren, if they are superior to what we have initially seen from Hot Toys, and if the initial reviews are pretty good, you have to wonder if you combine that with the fact that there's going to be probably a very low supply of these two figures, even though demand is going to be low. But if the supply is so low, could these two action figures become major players within the secondary marketplace for Star Wars Hot Toys? I will tell you that the Rey and BB-8 2-pack from The Force Awakens, it's starting to show signs of trending up within the secondary marketplace. You used to be able to get that 2-pack for $200, $225 on buy-sell groups. Now it's going for over $250. And on eBay, it's well into the $300 tier range to get that 2-pack. So very interesting. And certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on within the secondary marketplace for Star Wars Hot Toys. So that's going to go ahead and bring this episode of the Market Value Chart Show to a conclusion. Please go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed the content. And please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I so very much appreciate your support. And please continue to go and spread that word around about the Market Value Chart Show and also sixthscalecantina.com and the Market Value Chart. Please also go ahead and follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. I have the links within the video description below. Remember, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. See you next time.